Hello, welcome back. Thank you for joining me. This is Octavia. I am coming to you with a interview that I have with one of my former partners who would like to share with you his perception of what it's like to date someone who has a child with special needs and perhaps give some advice to those who may be thinking about dating someone, or maybe you've are someone who is dating someone with a child that has autism. I gave my point of view a couple of days ago of what it was like for me to embark on that journey having a child with autism, and how it was just difficult for me to navigate. And so, yeah, I just wanted to make sure that anyone out there who's dealing with anything similar, that you just pretty much have an outlook of what it was. This is part one. There will be part two of this conversation. So hopefully you'll tune in for that. Thanks so much. I have Dennis here.
Hello, I'm ready.
Right. Yeah, no, I just have a couple of some of the questions that I'm gonna like pull out. What I want to just first start with is just maybe just a small background just about us, just how long we've known each other. I have Dennis here, and I met Dennis, what was like in 2019, I believe it was.
Yeah, I think
And right, so about 2019, and then during 2019, I we dated for about 3 of those years, 2.5, 3 of those years.
3 years.
Okay, 3 years. And in during so Elias at this time, my son, he was already verbal, and I was once we got serious, I pretty much introduced him to you, and what that would look like, with you dating me, and my sort of needs that Elias had. My and then during so when we started talking about building a life together and things like that, but I just wanted to make sure that whoever I was with really pretty much just understood um, what that would look like raising him. So, Dennis, are you with Elias? Was this your first time dating someone who had a child with special needs
It was that I was aware of. Yes.
that you was aware of? Okay, we had an actual diagnosis, and like this is what it is. Okay, all right. Um, can you explain to me what the first meeting was like when you met my son? What was that initial reaction? What was your thoughts?
I don't feel like I had too much. Like you gave me a brief rundown. You know what I mean? We had somewhat of a semi-candid conversation about it. As far as you know, what your son likes, and you know what I mean, the things he likes to do. How smart he is. What he's into. Um, and when first meeting him, he was like really chill. You know what I mean? Wasn't no, it wasn't like a real high, like I don't know. It wasn't like a very exciting type of meeting. It was just like a hey, how you doing? You know what I mean? And he kept it
Mm-hmm.
pushing, and you know what I mean. And I we continued to do what we were doing.
Okay. Thanks. Did you have any initial fears or doubts or assumptions about just someone with me, just initially with one just meeting someone with the child, but then just uh, being able to learn and figure things out. Did you have any type of notions? Did you feel some maybe somewhat hesitance to be a part of this relationship? Did you think it's something that you would be able to do?
To be honest, no. Given that how how of a how you gave me such a great explanation, and helped me understand better. No, I honestly like felt comfortable with allowing you to do what you knew what you were doing. So I had a lot of trust into you to make sure, you know what I mean, whatever it was that you were worried about or whatnot, to just let it go ahead and pass, if that makes sense. I just feel like, I don't know, I had enough confidence because of what you've already informed me.
Hmm.
So I wasn't expecting anything more, anything less. It was just average to me. You know, you made me feel
Okay.
comfortable with how you explain. You know. what to expect.
Okay. Was there anything about my parenting that you saw that was different than what you're normally used to seeing, that stood out to you? Maybe something maybe you disagreed with? Because I understand, because you have children, right? Of all different ages and a teenager at that time. So, as far as my parenting, was there something that just struck you as like really different and maybe questionable about my parenting?
No, you were very attentive. Yeah, still to this day, you know what I mean? Like, I
Mhm.
don't know. Like I said, the way you were back then is the same is the same as how you are now. You know, you came off extremely seasoned when it did how and showing me how you were dealing with your son. So no, as far as your parenting skills and how you came off, I didn't see anything different than any other parent or myself. You know what
Okay.
I mean? I feel like as far as just speaking in clear tone, like you didn't get impatient, you wasn't frustrated or any of that. You know what I mean? Like just and Elias, like I said, he was pretty smart and he
Mhm.
uh he was already on it. Like you would have to really I feel like you really have to pay attention to Elias to see if there was any differences or anything like that. You know what I mean? Like just by initial interaction, I couldn't tell anything was going on or if there was any
Okay.
differences. As far as his behaviors and whatnot.
Mhm. So when I think I appreciate that for just highlighting me as a parent and my mothering skills and how my interaction is with him. Um I was so as far as me being a parent, when I date someone, I I date for long term. I date to marry, and especially if you're going to be meeting my son, it's important that you're just not around, that you're actually in death and doing things with him. I'm pretty much seeing you as someone that would be a father figure to him. Help me raise him. Like when I'm not around, I should be able to trust that you're able to kind of do certain things. Did you think that you could be a father figure to him, that you would be able to parent him when I'm not there, when I'm not around? Or did you have any type of challenges? But did you feel like you could be confident enough to do that? Were you?
Um, Over time, I believe I could. Yeah, over time, yes. I too have a child that faces challenges. You know what I mean? And has specified behaviors and whatnot at times. So it was very new to me. But like I said, the way I seen your interaction with your son, helped me learn how to interact with my son and how to have a better understanding. So as far as me feeling like, I mean, I could be a parent, I mean, that over time, yeah, you know what I mean? Like I said, I didn't see any difference in, any other kid, like I said, because of the amount of care that you were already given to your son.
Okay.
Want to
Thank
turn
you.
off my camera real quick. Yeah,
Okay. So, but I still got you, right? You're still there though, right? Even though you turned off the
I'm
camera.
still here.
Okay, I'm right. So, in regards to dating, us doing things together, because I know anytime I came over to your home, he always had to be with me. Like, I always had to just drag him along because there was just, usually if I wasn't ready for him to be at the house by himself, I would have to bring him over there, especially when we first started dating. I was like, I can't be away from him that long and everything. Then when
Mhm.
we worked together and just we didn't go because you're a bit of a homebody. We didn't go too much. We didn't go out too much as far as like out and about.
Right.
But I know there will be times where we're trying to be close to each other or intimate or things like that. And he was just always kind of like right there and everything. And Elias does not really believe in privacy that much. I think I remember a particular time with us where he didn't knock.
Oh, I
But
remember.
yeah, he did knock, and I'm like, all right, well, so it and so with that, did you find it hard to? What were some challenges I think with as far as like being alone with me, or because he would come and always need me and always texting me or wanting something from me? did you find it frustrating at all or anything with us being able to, do certain things? 'Cause I don't, compared to
I feel like
other people.
that was probably the only challenge, and it wasn't just for that specific time, you know what I mean, or for that specific activity that we may have been doing.
Hmm.
I feel like it's just understanding his understanding, and then being able to set clear boundaries that he could understand, you know what I mean, and could respect at the same time, you know what I mean. That was a one time thing, you know what I mean. So with with that being said, like that only happened once, so like
Hmm.
I don't feel like there's too much of a difference.
Okay. Yeah, it was, yeah. I'm like, oh. Um, did in regards to like looking back and everything, do you think that, well, let me ask you this. What is some advice that you would give to someone, man or woman, who may be hesitating, or have questions, or just dating someone who has a child with special needs, whether it be autism, ADHD, you know, Down syndrome, dyslexia, like what would be, and someone's like, I don't think I could do this. It's a lot to do and everything. Like, and they needed your advice. What would be some advice that um you would provide if your homeboy just asking you, like, man, I don't know. I don't be having that much time. I don't know nothing about this, especially let's say if a kid is nonverbal. And because that was something that was with my son, is that he wasn't really verbal. Like, what is some advice you can give to someone that's like, I love her, she cool and everything, but I can't rock with the kid. It's hard. What's some advice
Um,
you would have?
that that has never been a thought in my mind. I, I I've learned so much from you, Octavia. Just to be honest, you know, and what I would tell somebody else is gain some understanding. You know what I mean? That I feel like that's the common thing to tell anybody that wants to know about anything. You know what I mean? That they care about. Gain some understanding. You know what I mean? And understand that it's not a deficit. It's definitely a difference. Everybody is wired differently. I've learned that from you. Um, and yeah, that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? Like we fear what we don't know. So with knowing, you know what I mean, comes, you know, uh opportunity, comfort, you know what I mean? All different types of things. So, you know,
Mhm.
it alleviates the fear. So that's what I'll tell. Just gain some understanding.
Okay, right. Get some understanding. Okay, okay, okay. I get that. Yeah, definitely. I agree with that fully. It's like if it's important, there's some skill sets that you probably, need to learn. Like if you're easily angered, if you're not, patient, if you're not trying to be understanding, if you're stuck in your ways, it can be hard for someone that's getting into a situation, because it's like sometimes being with someone that has um their special needs, like it's nothing like the kids like of. So it's like getting to know them, and you got to be willing to be like, hey, do I really want to do this? And I think that boils down to how much you want to be in this
I'm,
person's life.
I'm sorry, it cut out for me. What was the last part that you were saying?
I say I just think just overall, and I agree that it does really come down to how much you want to be in someone's life, and just how much you would like, if you, especially in this child's life, it's learning about who they are, have and knowing what type of skills are required,
Mhm.
as far as being patient, slow to anger, and quick to understand. And it's not, you don't just, you're not born with it. And had I not prepared you and spoke to you different ways, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, had you not
Sometimes it's,
prepared me, I would have been like, "What's going on with this guy?" Because I didn't have no understanding of what autism was. You know what I mean? I just thought it was just something additionally that the doctors, diagnose kids nowadays. Because back when we were growing up, I don't think that was even talked about. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm,
um, what I can't remember what it's called. Neurodivergence.
Yeah,
Um,
neurodivergent. Mm-hmm.
I didn't know, I didn't have any understanding of what that was. I'm 41 years old now, and I just gained an understanding, and it blew my mind. You know what I mean? That we are
Mm-hmm.
amongst geniuses, that we find that a lot of the world, people in the world, find to be awkward, weird, out of place. You know what I mean? But given that an individual doesn't have that understanding, then that's what they're going to have. You know, ignorance is of bliss. So if you don't know, then that's what you're left with. But given that I know, it has opened me up to a whole lot of different things, you know, and understandings of people and my interactions with people.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. I had posted my previous video on my YouTube at Care in Full, and I got a comment from a gentleman where he was well, one, his question was, he was asking me how involved was um, my son's father in his life. Was he really helpful at all as far as the parenting is concerned, or was I just on that hyper mom mode and just shut him out and just took over and did everything? Um, and he just he was just basically like, did your husband even feel needed? Because you know or treat me because learning about hearing everything that I had done and how hands on I was, it was like, where was the dad in the picture? Like you said, you were with someone. Like, was he just not around, or did you just pretty much, you know, move him to the side and you just handled everything? So I say that to say, I'm gonna ask you, do you think that I needed you?
I feel I feel like you needed me more than him because I felt like your plate was full. You know what I mean? I feel like you took on many hats, you know what I mean, as far as mom, as far as care provider, as far as educator, as far as um, the breadwinner, you know what I mean, the person that takes care of the household or whatnot, or the provider. Yeah, so that's, like housekeeping, just anything, just chores, getting something fixed, you know what I mean? I feel like I needed to pick up that task as far as, helping you with certain things like around the house, you know what I mean? That, took away, when dealing with your son, it took, those things away as far as, certain things that you would typically do on a daily routine, So I didn't feel like Elias needed me, but I feel like I'll be a great addition as far as just a male figure. But as far as him needing me, no, I don't think he needed me. I feel like you needed me more as far as, just to help you take some things off of your plate.
Yeah. So that's interesting. That it's interesting in some form. I mean, because um, some women are think they're too proud to say that they need a man, need a figure there. Okay. Need someone there and everything. And we can raise a man. And I'm not one of those where I feel like I can raise um a man child. But you know, uh just a man, a black man by myself, especially without some sort of male figure around. I don't feel like I can do that. My dad was around, my brother was around,
Right.
and he had a godfather. I think it was just super important. I needed that. I know I couldn't. There's certain things I couldn't teach him. Potty training him was hard. I don't have what you have to make you do what I do. That was difficult. So I'm
Right.
like, stand up. You don't sit down. You stand up. But I included you in our life because I felt like he needed you. I did. You're not just gonna be around and just be there for me, it was important that he seen a man that was holding it down. You're a single father. You have, your children, who live with you, that you take care of, so he's seeing your dynamic of you coming home, you cooking, you're not out there running these streets, and you're doing their homework with them, and and you're disciplining them and everything, and he's able to see that model. I need, so you were setting an example that I needed him to follow, honestly. I'm not gonna just have him around someone and just anyone. And then also seeing our respect. You had respect for me. You still do respect for me. And there will be times where I'll be talking to him and you'll take over and talk to him and be like, what your mom just tell you or everything like that. And you built like a rapport with him. Like you nickname him Slim because he's so
God,
tall and skinny and everything. So um and to this day, Elias will still talk to you, text you here and there. And it's important that whether you're, you being my former partner, that he's built relationships with individuals. And so, if someone's going to be dating someone, bring something to the table. You have a lot to offer, and then you also being in the career field of mental health, and that you're in the me just seeing, when we worked how you would have to talk to, individuals and be patient with them and meet them where they are. And I was like, yeah, he's not trying to change anybody. He's trying to be like, well, what you got? And I needed that, and he needed to see that. So I thank you for that, for just still just being involved, when he like needs you. I know he called you like couple months ago or something like that because he was dealing with something online and some girl stuff, and I was like, yeah, that ain't me, but you can phone a friend. So I appreciate that. But yeah, and I appreciate this phone conversation, and I'm sure this will be helpful for others.
glad I was able
Thank
to
you.
help in some type of way.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you taking the time. So I'm gonna let you go. People are probably gonna have some questions to put down in the comments. You guys do so. If you have some questions for Dennis, I will relay them to him and try to answer them. But you know, don't be fearful of greatness, people. There's a reason why we meet each other. Right. So thanks so much again. I don't know what that is. Does
All
that
right,
hang
hang
loose?
loose. That's
It's
what it
not
is.
West Side. It's not West Side.
Just
Okay.
chill, hang loose.
Okay.
So,
I guess that's cool. Yeah, I will do that. I will hang loose.
okay.
Uh, okay. Have a good rest of the day. I'll talk with you soon.
All right,
Thanks
see you
again.
later.